Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Officer Ben, and today we're going to be doing a reaction video. We're going to be reacting to a video that I posted on the body camera channel a few days ago, in which I titled "The Worst Police Recruit Ever?" ? The reason I want to do a reaction video to this, or reaction to this particular video, is because the way it was received, I was really, you could even call it shocked. I was shocked and amazed at the way this video was received. And just to be completely honest with you, I was a bit trepidatious of releasing this video because I don't want to be releasing videos purely that give the impression that I'm purely doing it to make fun of somebody or pick on somebody or belittle them. I chose this video, and the reason I did is because, there's a lot of misinformation on the internet, and a lot of people that go out on the internet spouting off a bunch of bullshit, to be completely honest with you. One of the things that they say is that, it's easy to become a police officer. They're hired off Craigslist. They go through a 6-month academy. They're put out on the street with a gun and badge to go rape, murder, and pillage, right? That's what we're being told, that it's harder to become a hairdresser than it is to become a police officer. That's something that I know is absolutely not true. It's a very rigorous process that you go through to become a police officer. I don't think hairdressers have to go through the background examination and all that other stuff. But regardless of the fact, I think one of the reasons that it's so different, it's so hard to articulate the amount of training and how difficult it is to become a police officer, is because people don't get to see the coaching side or the FTO side or what people are like when they come out of the academy. And they also don't get to see that not everybody who makes it out of the academy actually gets to work the street as a police officer. And that is something that I want to show here, because that's something that is important. One of the other factors I think that goes into being a police officer versus any other kind of job that's out there is that you're expected to bring to this job most of the skills that you're going to need. It's the information that you're going to gain, like the information and the tactics and the specifics. Like the things about me that make me a good police officer are things that I had within me before I became a police officer. I was already basically a cop. I just didn't have the knowledge. I was given the knowledge of the different laws, the case laws, the specific tactics and all that other kind of stuff. And I was able to take me, put that in a police officer's uniform, and go to work. There's a lot of people who don't have that kind of mentality. They go through all the process and they get out on the street and they find out they're not actually qualified for this job. And that was the point I wanted to make when I made this video. Now, the response to it, and we are going to watch the video here in a moment. The response to it really surprised me. I had a lot of people saying things to the effect of, well, she was just nervous. She didn't do that bad. She was just nervous. And if her coach would have told her what to do or been more supportive of her, she would have done better. That kind of goes back to we expect you to bring certain qualities to this job. Then you go through the academy and we put all that knowledge in your head that make you as a police officer, now a knowledgeable police officer. Now, when you go out here on coaching, you're supposed to show us that you are capable of doing the job, because at this point in time, this woman right here has a gun and a badge. She is a fully fledged police officer. There's going to be things that happen to you when you're on FTO that, you can't pause. You can't take a time out and say, hey, coach, what am I supposed to do right now? You're supposed to demonstrate that you can do it. The other thing that we do with our recruits is we respond on calls. They're going to make mistakes on these calls, but your job as a FTO or coach is after the call to tell them what they did wrong. And then next time you go on a similar call, you watch them and you make sure that they don't make the same mistakes. The officers who make the same mistakes over and over again and are not responding to training, they're the ones that don't make it through the process. I wanted to backstep for a minute because I have a lot in my my brain is kind of full. I worked today. It's the evening for me while I'm recording this. There was also a fair number of people, I'm going to put this in one category, but a fair number of people that didn't understand what she did wrong. They were like, I think she did a good job considering, whatever. Then there was also a number of people who were trying to point out everything that she did wrong, but both of those people were equally wrong. They didn't understand what they were looking at. They didn't understand the type of criticism that is required of this kind of thing. So what I am going to do is I'm going to actually play the video for you, and we're going to walk through kind of how a police officer judges another police officer when they're doing their job. So if we think for a moment, what was this call? This call was a burglary to a vacant structure. The caller called 911 and said, hey, my name is whatever. My name is Amy. I live at 27 South Jupiter Street, and the house next to me, 25 South Jupiter Street, I saw a female climb in a rear window. Can you guys send an officer out to take care of this? Because I'm tired of having homeless people break into the vacant by my house. So a dispatcher takes that call, writes up the run, and sends it out to officers. Officers are dispatched on that call, and here it is when they arrive. Now, I've got the volume turned down. Some of the criticism that people had was this part right here, when she gets out of the car and she very quietly shuts the door. They said that shows that she's terrified and she doesn't know what she's doing. No, that's what she was taught to do. You're taught to arrive on a call and don't just slam your door, kind of quietly shut your door, and go from there, because you don't necessarily want to alert the bad guys that you're there, right? So the place that we're going is up here. It's this big brick structure. The recruit parked her vehicle 1, 2, 3 houses down. That is also what you are taught to do when you're in the academy. You don't park directly in front of the house. You park down from the house. So far, she hasn't done anything wrong. I'm not going to play the sound yet, but she does get distracted by the kittens. That's kind of a ding. It's not a major ding, but it's like a, hey, get your head in the game. We got to get up the road. Like when you get out of your car, that's when it's go time. The second you get out of your car, you have to start walking towards the objective. And she's not. She's dilly-dallying. So I think I skipped ahead a little bit here. Oh, no. I don't know. My editing was weird. Oh, I think that was because I had too much time in my voiceover. So you see her walking. She knows that this is a run where she's going to have to get her weapon out. Instead of just drawing her weapon, she's walking, holding onto her weapon as she points out the kittens. So let's move on from there. And this is the part where she's trying to identify what house we're going to. So she looks up and she identifies it. She's like, oh, I think that this brick house right here is the house. And the caller said that the person went in the back. So I'm going to say we should go in the back. And that's when the coach says, you're the police. Go be the police. Which right now we're actually doing okay for a brand new officer, right? Brand new officer, very little time on the street. We expect them to be slow. We expect them to make mistakes. The thing with the kittens can be corrected in the vehicle afterwards. This is the approach. This is where it starts to get real. So people were concerned that she drew her gun. Drawing your gun on a situation like this is the appropriate thing. This is what you are trained to do. And this is where it starts to go off the rails. So as a police officer, you have to be very vigilant. You have to be aware of your surroundings at all times. That's probably something that she was taught, but it's not something that she instinctively does. So she draws her weapon as she walks up to the target house and she's looking around, which is okay. You have to be aware of those things. But we were told that somebody broke into the back of this house and she's spending an exorbitant amount of time not in the back of the house.
Hey, Columbus Police!
And this is the first part where you can show that this person doesn't have the cop mindset, doesn't know they've received some training and they don't know how to apply the training that they've received. The reason being, when she says, hey, Columbus police, ma'am, she's announcing, but we haven't verified that there's even been a break-in yet. She's on the outside of a brick structure that somebody called in. You have to at least show up and verify that the information you are given is correct. So far, there's no signs that this building has been broken into. And we went through all this stuff where we get out of the car, we very quietly close the door, and then she is standing on the outside of the house, begins yelling, Columbus police, if you're in there, Columbus police. And she's going to take a very long time to get around to the back. If there was somebody in there and they were doing things like stealing appliances or stealing copper, stealing light fixtures, that thing, tools, anything that might be of value inside this vacant structure, she's giving them ample opportunity to get away, is exactly what is going on here. And she's clearing the outside of a building the way you would clear the inside of a building. When you arrive on a run like this, you have to deliberately but not hastefully get to the open door, right? Because that's where you're going to encounter the bad guy. This big backyard, there might be kids playing back here. And here you are with your gun out, pieing the corners as if it's an active shooter. This is not. This is most likely a trespassing.
Clear over here. Hey, Columbus police!
I'm going to leave it play. But she's, like I said, she's clearing the outside as if it was the inside of a house. Like we were told, hey, there was a woman that climbed in a back window of the house. And she's clearing this like it's Rainbow Six, like the bad guys are outside waiting to ambush her. We just need to get to the point. You know, and then in a second, she's going to get all hung up.
What did the call say?
That's when the other officer starts asking.
What did they say?
Like they saw a female
Doing what?
light skin break in at the 38.
How'd she break in?
Into the back.
Climbing through a window.
That was another thing too, is that she, before she exited her car, should have read the run. Should have the dispatch call in your mind. Hey, what am I being dispatched to? Why am I here? Oh, that's right. Somebody called in and said that they observed a female climb into the rear of this house through a window. So you should be looking for a window that somebody should climb in. She has it in her mind that she's looking for a door, and she can't find the door, and that's got her all confused.
Yep. No, it said climb in through a window. There's a window right there.
How was she getting into the building?
There is a busted window in the back.
Hey, ma'am!
Okay, so now she's still standing outside of the building, yelling at the window, ma'am, come outside with your hands up, or whatever it is that she's saying. We have no indication that there's one person in that building. There might be 100 people in that building. There might be no people in the building. The other thing is, you're dispatched on a call about a burglary to a vacant structure. You're told that the person broke in through a window. You arrive on scene. The front of the building looks like it's all boarded up and nice and secure. You finally find the window where the person got in. Do you go ahead and approach that window and go in through that window, or should you maybe hold that window, have another officer go around, check the rest of the building? That's generally what you do. Or when people are on coaching, they'll ask another officer, hey, can you hold this? I'll check the rest of the building. She didn't give the officers opportunity to do that because she's completely tunneled and focused on, I don't know. She's very confused at this point in time because she doesn't actually know what her job is. That's actually what's going on here. She's very nervous. She's afraid. She doesn't know exactly what her job is and what her purpose is. And that is what she's demonstrating here. So she stands on this corner, calls out multiple times, come out with your hands up. That's not what you're taught to do. Not from the outside of a building, at least. Then we have a moment here where she says, "Oh, I forgot to mark on scene." So she's more worried about what she's supposed to do to get graded properly than she is thinking about, hey, I'm here on a call about a vacant house. I need to get into that vacant house, or I need to go see if there's anybody in there. So she says, I forgot to mark on scene. So she grabs her radio and says, hey, mark me on scene. You can hear it. Well, you couldn't hear it on this, but she talked
Columbus police,
there.
come out with your hands up.
But you couldn't hear anything on this officer's body camera. The reason for that is because she's on the wrong channel.
What channel are you on?
So her walkie was on the wrong channel, and she's all kinds of confused and in the OODA loop. So now she's going to take her walkie out and look at it. I think she realizes that she's on a back channel, and she just continues to err on the back channel because the dispatcher heard her. Then she's like, hey, I'm on scene. At this point in time, that's like the lowest of all priorities. That's the kind of thing that we're talking about when you say, look, this person is not meant to be the police. Now, there are some like minor tactical things that she's doing. It's not just minor. It could be major, but she's walking with her gun all the way out there, and she's putting it in a place where if somebody was in that window, they wanted to do her harm. Here in a moment, she's going to stick your gun right in that window, and they could just grab it and take it away from her. The other thing is that she's so keyed in on like how to cover things and point her gun at things. It hasn't dawned on her that she can't even see in the window yet. Like, you have to show that you know the purpose behind what it is that you're doing. If you're looking at a window and you can't see in that window, why don't you go look in that window? And that's what I'm trying to kind of drill in everyone's head, is that she's showing us over and over and over again that she's just not in the right mindset for this job. And here she is putting her gun in the window. If there was somebody there and they wanted that gun, it would be
still
theirs.
good.
No, not
And you would be in a you'd be having a very, very bad day. So all of those announcements and everything that she did, this would be the appropriate time, or the moment you step in. Because all the announcements she did outside, the people inside that building, they're not going to hear. So the coach is saying, hey, look, you can't see behind here, so we need to get in there. We need to clear that.
Ma'am, are you in here?
And she's still keyed in on the idea that there's just one person in the building. So then she's going to go in, and all the officers are going to go in. Skip ahead.
Have you told them that we're the police?
And then she just goes into search mode. This is actually something that is incredibly important. And this is something that is drilled into recruits' heads when they're in the academy. When you are dispatched on a call about a burglary, a break-in, whatever, the second you get in there, and if you're not going through a window, if you're going through the door, is you make it very, very clear that you are the police and that you are inside this house. You don't want to shoot a homeowner. You don't want to get shot by a homeowner. You don't want to shoot a business owner. You don't want to get shot by a business owner. So when I go into a vacant house, like if I go up, let's say it's the front door. I go up, I check the front door. It's unlocked. I swing the front door open. I tell my buddies like, hey, I've got an open door here. If there's two of us, we'll both stand there at the front door and wait for a third officer. When the third officer comes, we'll say, hey, can you go watch the back? We're going to go clear the house. The second I walk into that house, I will go, it's the police. Is anybody inside? And I will do that multiple times. And then as I walk into the building, you're hearing me again very loud in a very commanding voice. It's the police. If you're inside, make yourself known now. If you're inside, come out with your hands up. And then we begin our search pattern. There's no way that you absolutely must search a house in this manner. Generally speaking, what you do is you do a quick sweep of the first floor. Make sure there's nobody on the first floor with you. If you encounter stairs, like in this house, you have basement stairs and you have upstairs. You can search either one of them, but you tell the other officer, hey, I'm going to check the basement. Hold that staircase for me. Then you announce again when you're going down the stairs. Come up the stairs, go to the stairs to go upstairs, announce, head on up. Anybody that's in that structure should be very well aware that the police are in there and they are searching. That is stuff that this particular recruit was not doing. Again, I just want to kind of reiterate, I didn't make this video to make fun of this particular recruit. I made this video to kind of demonstrate that not everybody who goes through the police academy is going to become a police officer in the future. Not everybody who is able to get hired as a police officer is meant to be a police officer. Are we very critical of people when they get into field training and they're going through stuff like this? Yes, we are. When people say, oh, she's just nervous. She's just nervous. Give her some time. She'll learn. That is not necessarily the right attitude. There are some people who demonstrate that they know what it is they're supposed to do. They're just not very good at it. We can teach those people. The people that don't have the mindset, that don't actually know what it is they're supposed to be doing on these calls, these are the ones that should not be getting through the process. And one thing I found particularly interesting about the crowd of people who were like, take it easy on her. She's new. Everybody would be nervous in this situation, this, that, and the other. Many of those people are the same people who, if a police officer makes even the slightest mistake on a call, like that officer needs to be fired. He has no business being on the street, this, that, and the other, blah, 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 blah. Maybe the best way to prevent that officer that you don't like who made a mistake from being on the street is to eliminate them when they're on their FTO process. Notwithstanding the fact that people are just going to make mistakes. But, you have to judge kind of the nature of the mistake, right? This particular recruit, her mistake was she did not have the mindset. She did not act like she was the police. She was pretending to be the police. And that was very apparent to me when I watched this video. And apparently it was apparent. See how many times I can say apparent in one sentence. Apparently it was apparent to the people in charge of the field training office as well, because she went through 4 months of training, of field training like this, and was still let go by the department. So if you ask me, that shows, at least to a certain degree, that the process is working, and this is what the process was meant to do. The process was meant to weed out people like her, because we don't want them to be out on the street on their own at some point in the future, be confused about what it is they're supposed to be doing, and have a catastrophic mistake, either them hurting somebody or their mistake getting somebody else hurt, or somebody's rights violated, this, that, and the other thing. Those are the things that we're trying to avoid by weeding people out of the FTO process. So I hope that makes sense to everybody. I hope it clears up any confusion people might have had as to why I would put out a video like this. And I hope it shows kind of what it is that police officers and training officers are looking for when they're evaluating people who come out of the academy. I think that's all I'm going to say today. Thank you for watching. I'll talk to you later.